and my parents are divorced for the last couple years. So, and I have one brother, and he lives in Gray. And I have a niece and two little great nieces. So.
Sounds like a pretty strong family unit.
Yeah. A lot of families there to help support you.
A lot, yeah. I'm lucky. Yeah, I have cousins. I talked to my cousin the other day. She lives up by Angler.
And so.
It's nice. That's why I wanted to come back and live in Maine. So my whole family's
here. It's nice.
Were you born and raised in Maine?
Yes.
Okay.
I was born in
Bangor.
And I was raised in Gray. And then went to college, undergrad in New Hampshire, at University of New Hampshire. And then grad school took me
to Chicago. That's where I got my master's degree, actually.
And then went to med school out there.
Sounds like quite the journey you've had.
Yeah. And then I worked out there for 16 years after residency. And then I moved home to take care of my family. And I wanted to move back to Maine. So.
And you mentioned taking care of family here. Do you have any other social supports besides your family?
Well,
I have a strong church family.
So I have a very
strong faith. And
I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, I've been a really
strong Christian. So that helps a ton. And my missionary
friends.
That I went on a mission trip with are supporting me. They live in Illinois, but they've still been really supportive through this because we're all sort of the same age, kind of going through the same stuff, which is nice.
And
my church family here has been very
supportive. They're willing to do anything to help. So
sounds like you have a church support in 2 different states.
I do.
Have some in Illinois.
Some in Maine. I do. And one of my friends from Illinois, my church friends, actually came out last year for the first
fall that we were here.
Back in Maine, and she visited with
her husband. It was nice. It was really nice. I also have, as
far as a social support system, I kind of think of my work. Colleagues as another family in a way, because I spend so much time at work that the other doctors that I work with have been very supportive. We kind of all, there's not many of us, so we sort of all know each other's family situations and kids and spouses and stresses, and we all go through life together. So there's times when I'll cover for them, there's times when they'll cover for me, and they've been great.
The MAs, the medical assistants that work with me have been great. The nurses, everybody's
been really. I'm pretty blessed. I have a lot of good support, so can't complain. And I have a couple great pets too. So.
That's always good to have. Pets. It's a great combination you have going on there.
And talking about work, did you always know, like, was being a doctor always your occupation, or did you have past occupations you were going towards?
Education wise.
Well, I
thought I was going to be a psychologist. That's what I wanted to be, and so it was kind of my dream.
I think I wanted to be like Marlene.
On Days of Our Lives. But anyway, I knew I wanted to help people, and I liked psychology. It was my favorite class in high school.
So I
got an undergrad degree in psychology.
And I was fully planning on going
to grad school and becoming a psychologist. But I did an externship in Bethesda. I lived in D.C. for a semester. And
I was at the National
Institutes of Mental Health doing research.
And the doctor there told me, I worked with her for the semester.
And then you do an exit interview. And she actually told me I wasn't smart enough to be a psychologist. That I would never make it, that I wouldn't get in. So she
told me instead if I wanted to be a
therapist, that I should get my master's degree in clinical social work,
and I could be a therapist that way. And so
I took all of what she said to heart, because she was
a very renowned psychologist.
And she told me to apply said it was the top program in the country,
And I did.
and I got in.
So that kind that sorry to cut you off here, but that sounds um
Kind of
backwards per se, um, because the professor of the renowned psychologist, I should say, tells you that you're not smart enough, but then she tells you to apply for one of the most prestigious.
universities, colleges.
For a master's.
Yes, but still, you said,
Yeah.
well, yeah.
So she told me to apply there. She said you'll get in because I had all straight A's, and she said I didn't have what it took to get a PhD,
But I could get a master's.
master's degree, in her opinion.
So, as it worked out,
I did get my master's degree, and my first job, I had a job before I even graduated with my master's at the University of Chicago Hospital.
and I was working on a cancer unit with head and neck cancer patients and doing individual and group counseling with the cancer patients and their families.
How was that job?
That sounds like it could be a very emotional job. How was that?
It was really,
I thrived.
I felt like I was really helping. I was part of a medical team.
And that's where I realized
I had a recurring dream all the time that I wanted to be a doctor. Every night I went to sleep and I dreamt that I was a doctor. I could see myself being a doctor, not a psychology doctor, a medical doctor, which I kept trying to shake off because I didn't want to go back to school. I didn't want any more loans. I didn't want any more tests. I hate tests. I was like, oh no, that's too hard. And I didn't think I was smart enough. And Dr. Pamela Cole from, one of the, from, the Institutes of
mental health and national.
Institute of Mental Health in Bethesda had told me I wasn't smart enough, so I didn't think I was smart enough to go to med school. However, I worked with
The surgeon, she was wonderful. And she was the ear, nose, and throat head attending surgeon. She told me that I was smart enough.
and that she wanted me to come to the OR with her and just watch a surgery.
And if I liked it,
She would help me get into med school.
and she's like, I know you can do it. So she believed in me. And I went to
surgery with her and I loved it. And so I told her that I really liked it, and I thought somehow it seemed crazy because I was 25.
26. And I'm like,
I don't want to, do I start over at 26? And she's like, well, talk to Dean Thatcher. So the rest, I guess, is history. I did apply to med school. I did get in. I did go to med school.
I am still a doctor now.
So I did call Dr. Cole, though, after I got my MD and I finished my residency. And I told her that, I wanted to thank her for
Directing me to the university.
University of Chicago. And I didn't say because you told me I wasn't smart enough, but I said I now am a doctor. I have my MD, and I'm going into family medicine, so and addiction. And
So she was happy for me, but
yeah,
That sounds like quite an amazing journey.
yeah, it was. It was
pretty cool. Yeah, it was really cool.
so. And I left Chicago,
But then I worked in Northwest Illinois,
in the suburbs, and it's where I had my kids, and yeah. So
A happily ever after, per se.
happily ever after. Yep, I still like my job, so that's good.
Now, going back even more with your history, like rewind.
What was your childhood?
Childhood like? You mentioned growing up in Gray and growing up in Gray.
Great. So I grew up, my dad, with my mom and dad. They were married my whole life until 2 years ago.
and I just had one brother,
And we were pretty close because we're only
3 years apart. I'm oldest. So I
had a
pretty wonderful childhood. I was involved in
sports, a lot of extracurricular activities. I did singing.
singing. I learned how to play the piano.
I would perform. I did some acting.
I really liked musicals. I played basketball, softball.
Field hockey, soccer.
Um,
And which one of those was your favorite sport and why?
I really liked basketball. And I wasn't necessarily
The best at basketball, but I liked it because I was an outside shooter and I was really good.
and I was able to help my
Team sometimes.
and I just like the camaraderie. So, and I mean,
I like softball too, but basketball is probably my favorite.
Because of teamwork.
Walk in a sense then?
yeah, yeah.
And yep. And so I was the president of the National Honor Society in high school, so
You know, I was a smarty kind of, but I don't know. I had a lot of
good memories because my
parents, my grandparents. I was really really close to during my childhood, and I would spend a lot of
time at camp with my grand and grandpa in the summer.
summer up in Springy Pond in Clifton, Maine, and I just thought that was normal.
And my dad was town manager,
And then he had a real estate company, so he was pretty well off.
and I didn't know any different. So I, as a teenager,
Young, like preteen, teenager. My dad had a big boat,
and it was an ocean boat.
and it was really big. I don't know, 46 feet or something. And it had like a captain's quarters and a kitchen and a little bathroom. And my brother and I had
Bunk beds underneath us all, and then my parents slept in the captain's quarters, and there's
a big bed for them. And I mean, we were able to use the bathroom, take a shower on this boat, cook. We had a refrigerator, and we could go up on the bow.
and up on the deck and lay out. My mom and I would go lay in the sun.
We'd watch the whales.
My brother and I would swim. We were all in and out of Casco Bay. We would spend weeks
At a time on the boat, and we'd get off
at the islands and
go to Acadia and Dingy Inn, and my brother and I would just run around and have
fun.
and so I did all that.
And my childhood, which I realize is really, now that I'm an adult, I look back on it and I'm like, wow, I can't do that with my kids. I don't have the money.
Yeah, it's quite a different time now.
yeah. But it was pretty cool. I mean,
And I'm assuming you did that stuff on the boat, obviously during the summer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we didn't go out on the boat in the winter. We just took it out of the water, and it would get humid and stuff in the winter. But we would snowmobile in the winter.
And go camping even in the winter.
Would you rather
Have the boat or the snowmobiling? Which was fun, I would say, and now you enjoyed
enjoyed more?
I like the boat.
the boat?
Because I love the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So I really liked just being out on the ocean. It was
Really peaceful and fun, and just kind of a really special time in my life. So
Those sound like happy memories with
Yeah.
your father.
they were
yeah, a lot happier.
than what I'm experiencing now.
Yeah. Yeah, take
Everything one step.
that time, I will say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any within your childhood, within your adult life, was there any major life losses or events besides, the event of your father developing dementia?
Well, I lost my grandparents. My grandfather,
Died at camp.
my brother was actually
There, and
Graham went to make him food, and he was sitting in his recliner, and when she went back to give him his lunch, he was dead. And my grandmother ended up with cancer. My other grandmother died of dementia, and those were like pretty big
losses because they were so
close to me,
Mm-hmm.
really close. I had
had a couple of miscarriages.
was pretty awful before I had Abby.
When did this all roughly occur for you? Was the grandparents' death when you were younger?
Like what my
Grandparents passed away
my
while I was in
and my grandfather passed away when I was in
high school.